Are you ready to level up your journey? Welcome to Get On Top, where we dive deep into the riveting tales of self-made entrepreneurs and corporate titans who have scaled the summit of success. Get ready for a roller coaster of insights, inspiration, and a roadmap to elevate both your mindset and your life. This is Get On Top with Morgan Browne. Welcome, Zoe, to Get On Top. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Here. Oh my gosh. Okay. So obviously I can't get through looking at you without laughing a bit. You know how everyone's energy is a little different?
Yeah.
For you, I just immediately, we don't know each other for so long. We haven't known each other for so long, but we haven't been close. But as soon as I met you, I was like, this is my type of gal.
Yeah.
This is you.
Same.
And over time, I've just gotten to know that you're such an intentional person. And so I'm just so thankful to have you here. So thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
So let's dive right in. I want to know everything about you. This is a dating show, actually, Zoe. I want to know, okay, first of all, I think the first question I want to ask you is, just tell us a little bit about the base of where you come from, like where you're from.
Yeah, I was born and raised in white suburbia in White Rock.
Nice.
And I lived in South America when I was in grade 9. And then I went on to do school at Langley Fine Arts. I finished high schools for grades 10, 11, 12. And then went on to live in Montreal, Mexico, Halifax. And then have spent another big stint of my life in Montreal and then have settled back here for the last little while.
Oh my gosh. And you have been an when's the earliest memory of you knowing that you loved art?
Yeah, we were raised in a really creative household and a household where everything was encouraged and we were really supported. I think it's one thing to hypothetically tell your children that they're allowed to do anything, but when you put the means and the support around them, it's just, I always felt supported in that pursuit. And when I decided to pursue it seriously was sort of high school onwards. And then from then on, it was like off to the races.
Wow. Was there a moment that you remember, like for yourself, that you were like, this is a defining moment, I'm going to pursue art, like professionally?
I mean, I was a 200-pound, 24-year-old waitress,
Yes.
a pregnant waitress. The last time I had a job, the last actual job I had, I was a waitress, and I was so massively pregnant that my, customers had started clearing their own plates. And so after giving birth, it was like there was kind of either waitressing or just going for it. And so I've been a full-time professional artist for 20 years, actually.
It's been 20 years?
Yeah.
Is it this month?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, most people dream to have that courage, of making their life an artist. But I think, and I think what most people want to hear today is like the truth behind that too, right? What does that look like as a real professional artist? Like, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, I think what comes to mind first was that I was very determined from the very beginning. So from the age of 24, 25, right after I had my daughter, and decided to start working professionally, I sought 2 mentors who have since both passed, but I was sort of stuck in White Rock, so to speak, raising my kids early on. And then we quickly moved into the city. But in those early days, I stayed really close to 2 people, Robert Genn and Don Lee Leger. And they had both had professional careers. And so I assisted them and helped them and sort of studied how it was that they had made a living. Because really, even 20 years ago, there wasn't a lot of models. And now it's more common. But back in the day, it was, I was kind of emulating things that I saw in what they were doing and how they were maintaining, supporting their families and also innovating and, maintaining the integrity of their work. I think the first thing that comes to mind is that from the outset, I set out to debunk the myth or the mythology that the artist should suffer or that the artist has to live a life of poverty in order to sort of be suffering, and that we can, in fact, make excellent work from a place of abundance. That said, I've carried a lot of the responsibility of supporting my family at times, self-supporting for the last 5 years entirely. And it's cost me a lot in terms of, it's hard to describe. It's also cost, you can't make the highest level of work when you have a commercial practice, or when you're blending a commercial practice with like sort of a practice of integrity. So a lot of my work has been custom work, which is I've done over 700 custom pieces for interior designers and private clients. And I based my entire business model off of a book called Hug Your Customer that I read when I was 24. And it was really about delivering customer service. And from the second that I connected delivering my work to humans, like the center of humans, like what it is that they're going to love for a long time. And I knew that I could never have a business that participated in planned obsolescence. So I wanted to make something that lasted. And so once I was able to align with some of the early goals of my business, then I was kind of able to bloom from that place.
Wow. I think you're hitting something that I think a lot of artists are struggling with, is making that connection to the experience of the consumer and the customer.
Yeah.
And so much of that is like your insight, but how much is that is intuition? Like, do you really feel like, I feel like you're a very intuitive person in general. And I mean, a lot of your latest series has kind of spoken to like the body form in general. Do you feel like there's like a connection there?
Well, I feel like it's sort of two questions. I think the first was about intuition and customer service. And then I guess I can talk about figurative work because it's it's really central to especially the most recent work. So I think that, I know how I like to be treated when I purchase something, and so for example, I'm allowed to try on a pair of jeans at a store. So I allow my customers to try art in their homes. So,
I'm one of them.
Yes. So it's like, why would you not allow your customers? So every time I say, you can just borrow the work for however long or a little, a short term, clients are like, whoa, what? And I'm like, well, you try on $100 pair of jeans. So why wouldn't I allow you to try a $15,000 worth of art or, a $2,000 piece of art, and also living with it in your home? And I found that the second I can get into a client's home or their workspace or commercial space, once we figure out what doesn't work also on the wall, it's great news because then we can figure out what does work. So I think that one of my strengths is that I believe that we're having an ongoing conversation. It's like, okay, well, that didn't work here. Will it work somewhere else? Or would different colors work? Or would we do a different size? Can we do a payment plan? We have an infinity amount no interest payment plan. People are like, that's crazy. Why would you do that? I'm like, what? I need money October 7th too. Like I don't need all of it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's like,
you're so flexible with that. Yeah.
I think that I'm one of the most, every time designers work with me, they're like, you're one of the most flexible artists.
Yes.
But I also stay very true to I never lie. I show up on time. I have a lot of things where I'm flexible, but I'm not like haphazard. And I think that delivering that level of professionalism is what's kept me. A lot of designers are like, we love your work, it's great. But we also, like, a lot of it is that we work with you because you understand framing, shipping, timelines. And a lot of the customers that we're working with, I mean, I don't know if artists always connect how high-end their customers are. And that's why I've always spent time in their homes or traveled to their cities or tried to stay connected or say yes to dinner parties when I'm invited, because most of my clients become friends. And it's not only that I want to socialize with them, it's that I want to understand where it is that they're coming from. So if, for example, I spend time with a customer after they're enjoying a piece of art, not only do I get to be at the dinner table with them, but I get to hear their friends talking about what it is about the work. Because a lot of artists are really detached from not only the sales process, but there's a whole after process as well, which is people living with the work, which is deeply profound and full of data and information.
Oh, I love that. I love the frame of mind of kind of being amongst it post you giving that piece of, I think it's a gift. I mean, art, your art is specifically a gift because there's such a personal touch in that experience, right? Do you find that is that kind of your unique selling feature? Like, I guess in the world of business, I think artists have missed what's making them so special other than just the art? Is that kind of what you've kind of coined as your unique selling feature, is just you being amongst them after the fact?
I think that I want people to feel special.
Yeah.
And always, all people. When I'm coaching girls basketball, if I'm in business, the most important thing is that I leave a lasting impression. And that doesn't change if it's not a transactional thing for me. And I think regarding it is a spiritual transaction too, because it's I think people don't quite understand the intensity of what it is to feel so deeply, and then translate that into a two-dimensional surface from nothing. So before you're monetizing that, you're actually having this really intense physical, spiritual, psychic sort of experience with the work, even if it's just sort of you have a piece that's an abstracted landscape. It's very calming. A lot of my clients for 20 years have been collecting abstracted landscapes. It's not brain surgery. The content of the work isn't the most philosophical work in the world, but it is pensive. It's emotive. It's got this sense of memory, and it is an extension of the artist's soul that you're consuming, So it's and it's a totally bizarre way to make a living when you think about that. I'm kind of making something out of nothing and then just kind of hoping someone has a visa. It's weird.
But you feel it's you feel it in your pieces. And talk a little bit about, let's go back to talking a little bit about about this series that you've put your whole, and including some of the pieces that you've done, the vessels, and where did that come from? And what are you trying to kind of relate to that person that gets to enjoy it?
Yeah. So to walk people through the content of my 20-year career, if they're not familiar with the work, I sort of have three main series: abstracted landscapes, the figure, which would be portraiture, and then the vessel series would be the most recent. But now I've made that work probably for almost 10 years, because I started to make that work sort of around the time that I got sober, and I wanted to paint the vessel. I was working with the question that I posed to myself, really, because a lot of it is kind of keeping yourself entertained as well, and inquiry towards oneself as to I had done figurative work for 20 years and I had studied high realism, and I was wonder if I can use abstraction and the vessel to talk about the experience of the body. So when we say spiritually, this is the vessel, this is the only vessel that I get for the, this experience, this lived experience. I was I wonder if I can talk more abstractly about what it is to be in this vessel. And so a lot of the pieces, for example, will be it looks kind of like a U-shaped vessel, and there's light pouring in, or there's pressures on the side, or there's stuff dripping out the bottom, or it's breaking open. So it's sort of a more loose way to allow the viewer in to have a deeper interpretation, or a more broad interpretation of what that could possibly be about, as compared to something that, say, was sad man crying with a blue face. That's going to be pretty sad painting. You're pretty much only going to, you can still have an experience with that.
Singular.
Yeah, but it's more directly kind of overt. And so I've just been pushing myself in terms of abstraction. It's Picasso could draw high realism when he was 12. And so it was you're constantly, it's common for artists to sort of deconstruct things as they kind of get on in their career,
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I think you've taken it to the next level, though, because you don't just do the general art pieces that we see in all these beautiful places and homes, but you've taken the next level of bringing it to other people so that they could learn that skill as well. Talk a little bit about why that's important to you.
Yeah, thank you for that question, because it's been one of my sort of business mantras and pillars, and really important. It's something I stress with my staff. You go on my website, none of the language is exclusive. So we start with something as simple as that, where everyone's included. I'll give you an example. When my mom saw a figurative show of mine in Gastown, about 10 years ago now, she said afterwards, wow, I loved that show because there was text on the wall that explained to me what it was that I was looking at. So that's my own mother going, thank you for including me, using simple language, allowing me to be in and allowing me to access the work and be further informed. So you have granting people access is like super important to me because I found at art school, everything was super snobby, super exclusive, etc. And there's some work that's completely inaccessible. And it's like, in my opinion, it's classist. It's like, it's it being exclusive. I mean, the price point excludes some people from my work, of course. But every entryway possible that people can have to access it, I think it's, I want to have those as open as possible.
Yeah.
I think the second part to that is that Canadian artists have to spend a lot of time educating their customers about what it is that they're consuming, because they oftentimes don't really understand collecting in general. So they don't come from like a European background where their grandfather's father collected, and they lived around it. Yeah, exactly. And so people may have taken their child to an Emily Carr show 4 years ago, once upon a time, right? And or they may, but they're really unfamiliar with collecting in general. And so you're really starting at like kindergarten base level. So one of the most common things that's why I have a lot of people visit my studio, like as a show and tell. I'm always inviting people to my studio because I'm like, well, asking simple questions around the work and continuing to sort of pass the ball back to them and being like, what do you think about it? What do you feel about it? One of the main experiences that I have over the last 20 years is that people will say things like, I like it, but I don't know why. Or I like it. Is it okay if I tell you what I think? Is it okay if I like it and my wife doesn't? Is it okay? And so there's all of this like asking of permission around like wanting to know what it is, wanting to know if they're allowed to even have access to something, which I find fascinating because, and I think it has to do with Canada being such a young country and that just being really new to early collectors.
Oh yeah. I think, but with collection, and I think with regards to art in general in Vancouver and in British Columbia, do you feel like there's a big artist community that's very connected, or do you feel like it's like kind of everyone's in their own little pods?
It's fun because I got to spend 5 years at Parker Street, which is full of like 100 artists. And so I was at 1000 Parker. I was studio mates with Fiona Ackerman. And then Jeff Martin was downstairs. We collaborated on some stuff. So that was great. And there was some old timers there too. We got to see Judson before he passed and we were around each other. Like we'd play basketball in the back. It was a really special time, sort of circa 2010, 2009, 2010. I was involved in the Cheaper Show, which was also a really important cultural thing that happened in the city. And so there was like this heyday then, and then I moved to Montreal for 4 years. But around that time, I feel like I got to know a lot of people, but people like Jeff Martin and we had to sort of leave the city in order to grow. So we would start to show at like ICFF, the International Contemporary Furniture Fair. We collaborated on that, or we would show at IDS, we would show at the local show, and we always wanted to support Vancouver, but there's a certain point where your career sort of grows to a certain point, and you're not only wanting to see what else is out there as a young person who just wants to be exposed to like high level woodworking or high level lighting or like what's happening in New York, etc. But in order to have like to just simply gain more exposure.
Yeah. You got to build that with that community at that time.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of artists are coming more on like a digital platform to build those communities now? Like it feels like I'm seeing it more on Instagram. People are like really liking and encouraging each other. Is that like important in the art world in general?
Yeah, I think people my experience has been that we've always been encouraging each other, and maybe that's because I live in a bubble and I live on a pink cloud, and I'm pretty strict about that. Like I don't tolerate gossip, so I just hang around with people who are like encouraging each other. But I think that and I kind of give off that vibe. I set that tone, and I think because I'm an older lady now I'm like mid-career, 44 years old. I kind of set that tone with young people.
Don't call yourself a mid. Come on. She's hot, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm happy to be like I was leading a retreat recently in the Baja, and I was feeling like really like old and witchy and like strange and like chubby and like funny, and I was like I'm down with this. Yeah, I was like I'm okay with what's happening here.
I know you mean it's like I'm okay with the visor. Like let's go with this. Give me the gloves, okay? This is so funny. I mean, you've gone through, I mean, I think your story is so beautiful because there's so many different seasons that you've gone through. One is sobriety, which you've spoken about in other people's platforms many times before, going through, separation, which is really important. How much is that contributing to your creativity?
Well, my sobriety now has been a while ago. Like it's been it'll be 10 years since September 26th and God willing. So, I mean, I think that I've been experiencing a new level of sobriety this last 6 months that I would describe as being present to what is. And I know that sounds kind of abstract, but what I mean by that is, if I open my bank account and I really sit with like what really is there, I don't try to sort of manipulate it, change it, circumvent it, skirt around it. I just sort of be with what is. It's I be, with somebody's energy or with their in a relationship, not romantic, but just, really letting, like, I feel like I'm experiencing a deeper level of sobriety, and that sobriety now that and what I'm saying is that the substance has been long gone.
It's gone. Yes.
Yeah. And that's been a decade ago, but it's like, can we be with what is without changing it or throwing, it's like your hand in a hot potato.
Or questioning it.
Yeah, manipulating it. Right? It's like, oh, I kind of want to lie to you and I kind of want to shape this and I kind of want to tell you that I'm whatever. And it's like, can I just literally be with what is? And I said this to someone last year. I remember I was like crying and I said, I guess I just have to be okay with this. And he goes, no. You can make that sentence even shorter. And I said, I guess I just have to be with this. And that's what I mean by that is like, I don't even have to get okay with it. There's nothing to, even letting go is a to-do. It's like, let go of it. It's like, I just need to be with it. And I think that that's what I've found recently is that it's really become, and checking myself for my own emotional sobriety too, and being like, doing a pulse check and being like, am I, yeah, am I like, was that emotionally stable? Like, I don't drink a substance, but that was pretty wacky. So yeah, I can still get pretty like far away, and I have to kind of like,
of course, because there's like, I think sobriety, like it's become recently, I think in the last 5 years, a popular topic, specifically, I think on the West Coast. Like I think West Coast people are very narrowed in on health in general. And they've made it so that it's either, like popular by demand. But I think a lot of when people choose sobriety, and I've gone through my own family history with that, it's never, there is the ghost in the closet type of sobriety, but then there's also this pureness that's like, I want to reach this new height.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been around a lot lately is just, and to your point, like just that's that reaching to the top of the point.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people don't really understand that unless they've gone through some sort of, state of what that is for them. But it's just sobriety can also be sobriety off of working too hard, stressing out too much, having too much fun. It's like this, when you say just be, all I think about is just this one calm line in your chart.
Yeah, I think like obviously like go rolling with the highs and lows of life, and like I've had experienced mild depression on and off since my husband left unexpectedly. There's life continues to keep going up and down, but you're not like hijacked. You're not like, I'm not at the mercy of that. And I think also I think what I've enjoyed about that is taking also a bit more responsibility for my own. It's like, well, that guy's crazy. And I can't believe that he didn't throw you on a horse and chuck you like take it down. It's like, take it down a notch, making everything right size and kind of like cleaning up the things in my own lane, not taking them on as a responsibility, but being like, I could have done that differently, or like next time I'll, and so tempering yourself and kind of like watching yourself within it and having like some sense of, just reclaiming your center point and some sovereignty in your own like body too, which has just been, that's really new for me.
Yeah. It's a state of, I think of actually leaders in general. And I always have this thing with business owners, and not even business owners, just people in life. Like leadership is really difficult. Like in whether you're a coach or a business, but you're also a leader in your own life.
Yeah.
And being able to reach that and knowing that everything can compound and everything that you do can be affected by it. That's when you're like taking real leadership in what you're doing. And
Yeah.
I think a decade ago, I was like, whoa, I'm really switching into leading my own life here. I'm the creator of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's also in business. It's like the way you speak to yourself, the way your energy goes, everything directly affects you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think like in the home too, you know, like there's leadership in the home, and I just read, whether it's true or not, nobody disproved this for me, because I loved believing I loved believing I took the pill. But that, you know, after my husband left, my son was, you know, became quite isolated or was quite down. And I read somewhere that I was, you know, that I would benefit the household if I was happy, you know, and happy is sort of like a fleeting sort of a lame word.
Yes, it's a lame word.
But that if I was to pursue like a real, you know, you also as a mother, you can't stay down that long. You know, it's like, okay, you have a half day of depression. Then it's like, okay, get this show on the road, you know, and have a Red Bull and kind of, you know, get going. And so like, I just had to really navigate 5 years of like, there's a time for resting and there's a time for rising. And I'm also really proud of myself that I stayed in that grief. And then when it bordered on self-pity or, you know, wallowing, I would like get you know, you got to kind of do opposite action to get yourself up and out. The first time I was kind of faced with that, having to kind of navigate those two places.
Yeah. And then you took that leadership into a next level when you were like, I'm going to take this by the reins.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make it my bitch.
Yeah. But I think that you can't do that too early on.
You can't. You're right.
I think people try to do that too early on, and I think it's like you got to just make sure that the foundation is solid too.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, your kids, like I've like listened to so much podcasts of you, and I've like seeing you on the outside. Your children, they seem to be, you know, at that center of you in so many ways. Oh. How has it been being an artist around your children?
I think that was tough. I was working really hard today, and I was thinking about it because my kids are 20 and 18. And so now it doesn't, you know, it's like I can work hard or not, I can travel or not. Like they're kind of, you know, my daughter lives in Montreal. She's on her own, like doing her own thing for almost 2 years. And so my son's independent, so he's not so affected. But I worked really, I would say, far too hard when they were young. And so I was as much a workaholic as I was an alcoholic. And I was really, and a lot of my friends would defend me in this exact moment and be like, you had to work that hard. Like that's what
you had no choice.
You had no choice. And, but I wish, you know, if I could get to do it again, I would have loved to have been more present for sure.
What do you think your children, what's their intake on that?
I think that when kids are sort of in their teen years, you know, there's sort of a pushback against that, like, well, you weren't around or you did, I don't know, whatever. They can say, have that they sort of need to, by virtue of their coming of age, sort of push back and individuate. And I think that type of reflection where they're like, oh, I bet you that my mom was doing the best that she could. I think that comes later.
It does.
I think they're, you know, on a beach in Bali and they're 21 or they're 23 or they're, you know, they get their first girlfriend and then the girlfriend goes, oh, right. Okay. You know, and so they have to sort of like have that perspective, because I think they need to still hold you. They need to kind of put you in a certain place to support their own narrative so that they can stay okay to whatever degree they need to until they're ready to sort of gently unzip certain parts of that and sort of look at the pieces, and then they can sort of hopefully see your humanity. Yeah,
that's such a beautiful thing to say, because I think there's a lot of mothers are taking it pretty rough right now about their children. It's a conversation that I see a lot of working mothers that are trying their best, and you're right, there's no other way. They have to do what they're doing. And then they feel so much shame and so much guilt at that moment. And I think they think they're worried so much about what the kids are going to be thinking when they're older. But I do think there comes a point, if you have the faith of and like the belief that that will come for them. And I love that narrative that you're mentioning, is that they will come to that.
Yeah.
You got to have that. You got to have that faith, right? I mean,
totally, for sure. And I think that I would say I've been lowering my overhead, like lowering my living costs. And I would say that one thing I would counter a little bit is there is a bit of a like, well, I have to, we have the third place in Whistler. Yeah, we have this, the 3 places in Whistler. So I have to be working 7.5 days a week. So I would, and I'm saying that to myself, and there's no shade. It's just like, my gentle question would be like, do you have to, right? And like, and where could you, what I've been doing, but by the encouragement of some friends, is like just trying to live a little bit lower below my means, and Keanu Reeves style.
I actually love that. I think less is more.
It's just like, I didn't like the hypocrisy of my own being like, I think there was an engine behind that was like, well, I have to. And it has this energy that's like, the gentle question is, do you have to? And I can hear my therapist saying like, you don't have to do anything. And so you really have to then you have to kind of make your own peace with like what you are affording. If you think of affording as a verb,
yes,
then, that was expensive money that I was making. I call that expensive money. And so I'm reconciling that within myself and making just some different decisions, little adjustments.
I think that's a great check-in for people, just to say, hey, let's take a quick audit of what you're doing, and then just making like mini adjustments throughout the whole piece. But I think your kids, you're so lucky. I will say this as an artist, and I think this is any business owner that's listening too. We're very blessed to be working and creating something.
Definitely.
And then to not feel like, it's not to say the time is wasted, but for some business owners and some people like yourself and artists, and even just, people that are in, their spaces of creation, because that's really what entrepreneurship is. At the end of the day, it's not about what we're doing. It's how much impact we're making. Yeah. That's what true entrepreneurship is. It's how many lives are we impacting? And then to leave that and say that you've been able to impact X amount of people is such a powerful and honestly awesome thing. That's what's so great. And I think with my kids, I see they're seeing whether it's offices or people that we know that we're helping in homes or whatever it may be, that they're seeing that we're impacting people's lives in this, right? And you get to do that. This is why I think it's so cool. So you get to do that, but then it gets to be one of their most cherished possessions.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
Which is such a beautiful thing. I think working, and then it gets passed down by family to family, and it becomes a topic that it was sitting above, the fireplace for X amount of years, and it's her favorite piece, and it just becomes this story of impact throughout the space. So
yeah,
I love it.
I was just somewhere this morning, and her in-laws could collect, I went to this early morning workout, and her in-laws collected my work and have a custom rug that I made and stuff. So it's just it's a really special thing to live permanently in someone's home. It's pretty special.
It's so special. I mean, it's, and I think we touched on this about success. I think artists, what was success to you when you first started, and what is success to you now as an artist?
Yeah, I have this as a slide when I speak to young people, because it changes. And I think it's really important. People are like, yeah, it changes. It's like, no, it really changes. So I show a slide that's like, this used to be my priorities. Say, for example, I wanted to paint so I could get away from my children. And then, many years later, it becomes I want to make a living so that I can spend time with my children. So literal opposites can exist in change and ebb and flow. So it's really, really important for people to consistently and regularly take stock of when I'm mentoring, that's one of the main things I get people to do is really write down, because you might think you're doing things for these same motivations that you had 6 months ago. And then you might be like, that completely doesn't matter to me anymore.
No.
I completely forgot about that and I don't even care. So I think I forgot the question, but
what success is for the last 10 years. I know, I love it.
So
was it like,
yeah.
how has it, obviously it's changed.
Yeah. So I remember grossing my first 100,000 and just being miserable. And I was on my knees bawling in my studio at 1000 Parker Street. And it was a really good moment. I think we learn at that sort of like a dramatic peak moment.
Yeah.
But what's good about it, I think what's important is that we learn through contrast. So if you think about feeling afraid and going into the cold water, part of the reason the cold water therapy works is if you were that same temperature, it's not technically cold water, right? So you like it's actually not that it's cold. It's not the cold water. It's the contrast between the warmth of you and the water itself. And so we actually learn only through contrast. And the starker the contrast, the more intense the experience.
So true.
And so I had this I was totally unhappy, and then I had accomplished this so-called thing that I had been desiring for so long. And so it was really good for me though, because I was like, it's likely that if I make 200,000, I need to check, I need to get right here.
Yes.
Rather than there, I was like, there's probably no amount, so it was lucky. I didn't need to get to 7 million and have burned down 3 houses to be like, oh, money is not the thing, but I think that was such a formative memory for me. It was so what we also set out as successes aren't always the things we know as entrepreneurs that satisfy us. One of the things that feels really successful for me is when peers, there's certain colleagues and peers of mine, Scott Sumi being one of them. He's a painter. He's one of my good friends. We played basketball together, and that time together was just really special. He protected me as his check and taught me stuff. And when he was first learning investments, I was like, I don't know how to do that. And he's like, do you want me to show you?
He was really there for you.
He was really there. And it's those kinds of friendships in our industry are very, 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 very special. And I'm thankful and rare. I mean, I'm thankful today to say that I have a lot of those kinds of relationships in Los Angeles and New York, because I've been there so much visiting for work. And I don't know, something about colleagues being able to sort of see you. And it is also good when it's cross-pollinated across different ventures. But there's something really special sometimes, when one of your peers says, this work is really good, it's a great compliment.
It is such an important thing, I think. And also just, to your point about that cross-pollination, I'm always under the mindset, the more, if I believe in it, I can support it all the way. And it's you put everything behind it. You're okay, that person, I'm gonna be rooting for them and cheering them on for the rest of my life, right? And I think that becomes less and less, because people are meeting tons of people. They're expecting something from somebody else. But what I've really learned over the years is that you don't have to meet tons of people. You have to just have great intentions for a couple people that you just really believe in, right? Yeah. I believe in a lot of people. But I think when they're really pure to what their craft is, whether that's in even something as boring as accounting, to life insurance, to artistry, to running a doctor's studio, that I'm the first person to line up.
Yeah,
right?
And I think that referral, that word of mouth, is good. Is how we've both built our businesses. There's nothing better than somebody being this is the best at whatever they're doing for this time and for this genre and for this, moment. That's you can't ask for more than that.
So you bringing it back to kind of what you're doing on an experiential side of things for people. I want to explain this to people because I'm she's always traveling around. I'm like, Zoe, where are you? She's like, I'm in Bowen Island. And I kind of want to put you on my Find My Friends to be what is she up to?
Share my location.
But you are so giving, but also giving of time, but also of your wisdom to people that want to learn what you're doing, and tell people why do you do that? Why are you going to these retreats and going to, even going to Los Angeles and working with an interior designer and teaching something there? What in you is yearning for that because I'm always just completely in awe of that.
Yeah. So,
it's not free, everybody. She has to be
$842 an hour for my coaching sessions.
Exactly.
My mom is the head of parks, was head of Parks and Recreation for our community, and Parks and Recreation is about including everyone. Things being cost effective and approachable, people, everyone's invited and included, and, meeting different needs of certain demographics. My dad was a professor. And so his values, he taught people to be special education assistants, teachers in special needs classrooms. And so, and then I come from a family of like total social justice, like left before it was woke. NDP, my grandfather helped found, like, was one of the founding fathers of like free healthcare and prisoners' rights. And for example, something like where women are now able to receive welfare checks. Like at a time, there was only men were able to receive checks. So there, at every change in policy or in those types of shifts, I sort of grew up around that sort of left-wing, Jesus came nomadic and poor to serve the poor, and that if you have, to whom much has been given, much is expected. And that, so that's the roots of where I come from. And so life without service just wouldn't even dawn on me, that there has to be a category of your life that is a form of volunteering. And then most recently, having gotten sober, it's like I can't even talk about it without, to see people, a lot of people come to me when they first get sober. And it is the most, to have somebody whisper in your ear or text you that like, hey, like, I'm struggling. My entire life is falling. I look like this, but, I don't have custody of my kids. Like people that we know.
Yeah.
Like this is not like
a hidden,
like this is
community.
No. And like, so it's like, and it doesn't really matter who they are, it's just like, I've taken so many people to, to resources around that and, have seen it literally, it's seen them, watched them. I'm not, I just am able to like drive them. I'm like a carpool, but, it's life-changing for people. And so, that to me, it's like, that's sort of selfish, right? In the way, because it's like, it's so incredible to get.
You have those like profound moments in your life where you're like, whoa,
yeah,
I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah, for sure. It's
and you're like, this is and it comes it's an easy thing, right?
Some people want to rescue dogs, and I just have different things that and I think when I advise people on like, how could I sort of give back, I always think about what makes you cry. Like when you see youth being mistreated or bullied, or, you can do big sister, big brother, when some people are connected to animals, etc. And I think the thing that like really, whatever it is that like gets you, is like a great entry point for like how it is that you can be of service. And
that's a very good probing journal question.
Yes, totally.
I love that journal question. You should put that in your next cards. I'm always pulling her cards like, yeah, journal entry. No, but it is a very good thing. And it's an easy question to answer. And then for you to like try and pull your attention to that.
Yeah. What breaks your heart, and like, how can you, and it changes too, right? But it's like.
Mine is people jumping off of cliffs.
Oh, wow. Like.
No, I think it's overcoming a fear.
Yeah.
Whenever I see someone overcoming a fear, it completely moves me.
Yeah.
Or like the art of dance. If I can sit there and I'll sob. Like watching somebody just move their body into such an extent. Like it's like they're leaving their whole soul onto the ground.
Totally.
BC Ballet.
Go BC Ballet.
You should just
go BC Ballet.
I'm like probing for it. But no, it's a great question. I think that's where I think you do such beautiful work, is you're able to open people up even further and kind of just like plugging you more here. But I would say these vessel cards that you have given to this world has been so special. I actually got them from one of our realtors at Oakland. Shout out Shauna Ocean.
Yeah.
She gave them to me.
She's such a great person.
And she said to me like, oh, I don't know if she gave, I think she gave them to me. Someone gave them to me. But I'm going to give it to Shauna because she introduced us again. And it's just, they're magical. And immediately I thought they were tarot cards.
Mm.
I was like, these are going to be tarot cards. In a weird way, they kind of are. In a tricky way, whatever way you want to think of it. But what was the intention there?
So for people who don't know, I created an oracle deck 2 years ago, and it's a 40-card deck. And in it, it has a booklet in it that I wrote, which has an expanded meaning on every card. And there's 12 astrology cards that are connected to some astrology, which was ghostwritten for me. And then all the rest I wrote. And then each card you'd pick. So for example, joy. And then there's a journal prompt, like you're saying. So the goal is that people would pick them. Like I thought they would only pick them in the morning over their coffee and contemplate, which is a common way that people have been using them. But people have been using them in all sorts of a myriad of ways that has totally surprised me. End of life. Quite a few people have been expressing that they spent a lot of time using them end of life with their, because I know, which is like,
Give me such chills.
Via one way that's been really fun is people have bought 2 decks and mailed one to their parents who live far away, like say Saskatchewan, and then been like, I don't have a lot to talk about with my mom, but like we pick a card every morning, and then, super cool. My mom has a friend in Arizona. They pick a card every morning. They text each other what it is. So it's like, it's also been, people have been brought them on a lot of retreats lately. So a lot of like yoga type people. So it's just been like, and it's taken me on like adventures. Like I was at Casa Cipriani in New York to lead and facilitate as a result of the deck. I really feel like the deck is its own magical carpet ride.
The deck is an incredible thing.
Taken me on a true like journey, and I just want to do more. So yeah,
I think yeah, you should, because I'm like so pro this deck. I do just shift our whole energy in our office.
Yeah.
So if it feels like everyone's feeling a little stuck, I'm like, how's everyone feeling? And then you can kind of feel it stuck.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, Oracle deck's coming out.
Let's pick a card.
We're probing a question. Usually we get hard work, or not hard work. Is it hard work? Is that one of them?
No, hard work is for the rest of life.
Was it working?
There's
what was it
one
that I just pulled and I sent it to you?
There's service.
Service.
Oh yeah.
I know. Always
sometimes you got to be of service. There's
I got to
2
be the
in there
service.
there's 3 that people kind of find a bit, not downers, but like there's service, being of service, wah, wah. And then sobriety, and then save, which is also not just about your money, but it's about your time and energy. But usually people are like, I got to save my money.
Well, I think that's going to just continue to like open up a massive amount of doors. What do you want? What are you excited about right now that you want to share with this world? What's getting you most excited about creating?
I think we were talking about this yesterday at our brief coffee. Like, I feel like my star is rising. Like, I feel like I'm in this moment. And I had a good cry about it this morning, because I was like, it's a bit overwhelming. And it's, there's some grief for like how long it took. People like to see something as an overnight success, and then it's like it took you 20 years of like blood, sweat, and tears. And I've been, oftentimes under-resourced. And so it's like, what a downer I was able to take a question like, what excites you? But I think it like, it's just, does
it kind of feel like a release?
It does. It feels like a release. And I think I'm like pre-rewards. So I'm just in this, you've caught me in this really bizarre moment, which it's sort of hard to talk about when you're like very much in the center of it, which is like, I am being very rewarded for a lot of, I've thrown a lot of shit at the wall, I've had many years of just like trying stuff. I have a board, which is like 5 of my girlfriends, smart girlfriends really, so it's smartgirlfriends.com. But my board last year, we put all this like chaos. It looked like this chaos on the whiteboard, and a couple of my more logical friends at the end of the meeting were like, okay, what did we decide? Like, what did we come up with? What was the real conclusion here? I was like, we made this much, we lost this much. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm just like, it's just like complete chaos. But I think 2025 was a big year of trying a lot of different things. And this year is a year of focus and faith. I'm really allowing like what's coming towards me. I am also running towards it with like some fervor and a lot of faith. So
yeah, I love that. And I feel like I'm excited to just know that this is clocking you at this moment. And that one day you're going to look back at this moment and like listen to it and be like, whoa, that's where I was at.
I mean, more for your viewer, like for people who don't know my career, I think I'm designing pools, which has been really exciting.
This is very exciting.
It's very exciting. I've been looking for, I'm looking for a partner in the Oracle deck so I can expand that to make it sort of something like Intelligent Change or like the 5-Minute Journal, that umbrella company. So I'm courting a couple partners in that direct to consumer e-com type people. I want to do a sobriety deck and a teen deck is how I want to expand that. And then my work was just accepted at Polyform, so I'll be showing there. And then we have like a big expansion, which we'll announce something that will be released around IDS in September. And then I'm doing a lot more work with like the Lighthouse in LA and Soho House last week. So there's just like a lot of alignment with people that I've been courting for a long time.
I was going to say,
too.
like, it's not just like it
takes a long time.
It took some time
to maintain those relationships and to grow them and to sort of continue to figure out. Like, I will pretty much pursue you until you issue a restraining order. Like until you like tell me that it's like that.
Like this is too much.
Yeah, I'll be like, are you sure? You probably want me to come to your, like I'm going somewhere on Thursday, and the guy was like, I look forward to seeing you. I was like, does he really? Or is he just like, please fucking come so that we can like stop this fervent pursuit of me.
I think that's like, it's very authentic to yourself though. I mean, like if you weren't pushing, I think people would consider you, like, I would say there's a lot of people that go in and out of people's lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like ships, like,
yeah, for sure.
And then they're gone.
Yeah.
But I think you're more like a sun that keeps on shining.
God bless you.
I do. I was like, when I met you yesterday, I was like, she's fucking great. I'm like, and no wonder she's on top because, I really believe that your star is rising. And I think you're getting what you need from this moment. And I think that it will only continue to grow with you creating these beautiful vignettes in your mind of what your next chapter is. Like, that's when all that beautiful manifestation comes into like the whole next level.
Yeah.
So then it just starts to becoming there.
It's been really weird for me because I coach people, I mentor people, I've led courses and I do talks and stuff, but I don't have a super clear sense. I've never had a 5-year plan. I have some people are very good at that. And I just have never had more than sort of a sense of like 6 months to a year. I have a best friend who holds a vision board for me for my future house because I can't see it for myself, but she's like,
I got you.
Yeah. She goes, Zoe Pawlak gets the house. And I trade a lot for my artwork. And so I always get us the house. That's kind of like I trade a lot for artwork. So I'll end up in these really cool houses. She's like, I want the house for you. And I'm like, well, I don't know what that looks like, but I have people in my life who hold space for that. And like,
that's brilliant.
Really cool.
I call those the council.
Yeah. And Julia Cameron calls them believing mirrors. I don't know if you know Julia Cameron, the artist way.
Beautiful.
She calls us each other, we're believing mirrors. And we know that we're mirroring each other, but I love that term that like, I can believe on your behalf until you're like ready to see it for yourself. And I've had a lot of people do that for me in the last 5 years.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I want to talk to you forever, but you're leaving to LA and I have to go out of here. I'm going to do a rapid fire. I have a part 2.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to do a part 2 with you in the next little bit for sure.
Sounds good.
I feel like we'll do it in LA.
We can talk about
that was how we were going to talk about
my
it.
death doula schooling and all sorts of weird. We can get real weird.
We're going to get
dating.
Weird. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me. I would do rapid fire for you.
Okay.
A little fun.
I've never done a rapid.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Coffee, tea, or neither?
Coffee.
One artist everyone should know about other than Zoe Pawlak. Come on.
Oh my gosh, that's so mean.
Artist.
That's hard. One artist. I was just recently looking at Diebenkorn. He's like an old guy. Yeah.
Love it. I don't know who that is. No, I have no. A book that changed your life.
Oh, Just Kids or The Untethered Soul.
Untethered Soul. It's just like.
I would take that to a desert island. Like that's what the book I'd take to a desert island.
Double book. Like double reading
double
all
down.
The time. Double
triple.
Down. One habit you can't live without. One habit.
Coffee and my phone. I'm not happy with my relationship with my phone. But anyways, none of us
Lock it in a box. A place that inspires you.
Naramata.
Oh, I love you. And I love Naramata. And what currently brings you joy?
Nice jogs with Vic.
Oh.
Yeah.
What does getting on top mean to you?
It means, staying in the light.
I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you, Zoe, for being on the podcast.
Okay.
Thank
Love you.
Love you.